Welcome to the Reset and Zap podcast. I am your host, Zap, and with me is my co-host.
Hey everybody, what's up? It's your boy TJ.
And what do we have going on today, sir?
Oh, we have a very, very special guest in the building.
Really?
You mind? Can I talk about him a little bit?
Yeah, you know what? Take it off.
All right, I'm gonna talk about it a little bit.
Okay, be my guest.
He is known
as
the face of Resident Evil's Leon Kennedy.
Ooh, I'm excited already.
You got Degeneration.
Okay.
You got Dark Side Chronicles.
Mm-hmm.
You got Operation Raccoon City.
Uh-huh.
And I also believe Damnation, if I'm correct.
Oh.
He was also in My Chemical Romance's Demolition. He was the Demolition Groom in My Chemical Romance. And he is an award-winning choreographer, fight choreographer.
Okay.
Photographer, actor, and musician.
That is a full resume right there.
Oh, yeah.
He does a lot, in other words.
He also starred in Tales of Frankenstein as Jack Anvil.
Okay.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
That's
quite a bit. That's more of a resume than we have put together.
Pretty much. So this he's pretty much known as he's Capcom's most often utilized Leon Kennedy face model.
And for a good reason why, which we'll be diving into. So who are we talking to?
Who are we talking to?
Who are we talking to? Who are we talking about?
It is Jamisin Matthews. How are you doing today, sir?
Hey, how's it going? Hey, Zap, hey, TJ.
That is one big introduction.
Yeah, hopefully I did it justice.
You did it justice. Of course, some of that stuff is more known than others. So,
which is so exciting today because for those of you that do or do not know by this point, I am a proud Capcom creator.
Yes.
So as a Capcom creator, this is one of my dreams come true. Just being able to dive behind the scenes and learn a little bit more about one of my many favorite games, Resident Evil. You already know that. I mean, I think I can prove I'm a loyalist by the huge Resident Evil collection that I have.
The pretty much complete Resident Evil.
There's a shelf, right? I saw you had a shelf of Resident Evil, and then you have the Gaiden, depending on how you want to pronounce it. That's like my favorite cover of all the covers.
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Finally, somebody that agrees with me. It's amazing.
I'm partial to all the Leons with black hair or dark brown hair. So that was one of them when he still had the black hair. So the other ones are great too, but it's like half and half. And then the red hair is pretty cool. I like the red hair. Somebody had an air freshener for a car that hangs off the rearview mirror at a Comic-Con at LA Comic-Con. It was the red-haired Leon, and it was probably one of my favorite pieces of merch I ever saw. Like I don't know if it was a bootleg or what, but
I don't know why we should run a poll. Which one is the better looking Leon?
Here's the thing: I lose almost everyone. I'm like the alternative version. It's interesting. It's some people too will also pick one of mine as their favorite and least favorite. So it's like okay, because they tweak it. They it's like they take however they took the image depending on technology at each time, and then they fix things. I remember even with Ruben when he was doing, I forgot which character, Devil May Cry. It's like the main. Oh. Why am I losing this?
Games.
What's that? You got Dante.
Virgil. Dante. Virgil was Dan Southworth, and Dante is. So Ruben's the one who taught me everything, and Ruben was the one running all this stuff. And but I, it was like I think one was like his face, but then like David Beckham's nose or something. I don't know, something so they kind of fix things and
like the adjustments. Yeah.
So there's always that. So they're always going to be like even like my Degeneration one. They just made it cooler for the Damnation one. It's like, let's give him like, eyeliner and stuff, they made him more emo,
Oh yeah. I remember that one.
So I've learned quite a bit. We've done our research, and obviously with doing research, we have so many questions. So we'll see where we can even start. I already know where I'm starting because obviously with being a Resident Evil fan, that's where I want to touch bases. So obviously you are known as the face of Resident Evil, Leon Kennedy. This includes quite a bit of projects, like Degeneration, which is actually a really good film. I'm biased.
Yeah, I like that one.
Dark Side Chronicles, Operation Raccoon City, and of course Damnation. I'm just a fan of the CGI movies, so obviously I've tried to collect them all. I'm one away from completing all of my movies.
I like the fact. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
No, you're fine.
That was all like this transition era too. Like I like the fact those are all the ones kind of in the middle, so once again it's kind of like I got to be part of like the games and the CGI films, and you know what I mean, like because it was this weird time, and then also that's when they were trying, I believe, to sort of change the character a little bit and kind of make him sort of an adult, like and I kind of felt like I got to play both sides of his age, his young age, because I did. Well, because if you think about it, like Raccoon City and Dark Side Chronicles, like Dark Side Chronicles is the first remake. It really is of RE2. It's like the one that came out. It's Memories of a Lost City, and that's RE2. Like so that I got to be him as the 21-year-old. Leon, and then like with Degeneration and on, that's supposed to be like the older version. Even if the ages sort of aren't that far apart, you can tell the character's far apart. He's more battle tested, like PSTD. He's just kind of a mess. Sure. And, but it's super cool. And I do agree with you on Degeneration, because it's the singular movie that kind of covers everything. Like it covers the whole story, and it covers Resident Evil 2 with the flashbacks and all that stuff. So that's kind of why I kind of agree that might be the best one, even though some might be better for better action scenes or whatever, and better, depending what your taste is. But in terms of a fan, like just if you have to say, if you want to like meet these characters, Degeneration I think is a good one.
Yeah, I feel like the background story and like just the lore and how they did the script writing for everything is just really well done compared to the other films. And
it's also not perfected yet too, so it's kind of like it's going. I hate to bring up music because earlier we were talking about music, everyone. So like he's a producer and stuff. So sometimes it gets too good. It gets too slick, and it's and to use like a super popular example, like the stuff The Weeknd did, in Canada, the trilogy stuff. Like I can listen to that still. I'm still a fan of all the stuff that he did, but that stuff I can listen to over and over and over and over and over, and it's not as quote well done, right? It's not. It's flatter production, and but I like it, and that's how I feel Degeneration is, that they hadn't gotten into the groove to where it becomes like Vendetta, where it's like like a Tom Cruise movie, which is still great too. And I like the last one a lot.
I forgot the name. The Resident Evil Island.
Death Island.
Death Island. Yeah, the one we just watched, that one pretty recently.
And I think that one, like as a movie, flows like kind of technically the best, so I do like it. But in terms of like the rawness of things, I felt like Degeneration had that, and it's also the only time I think that they had Angela Miller, anybody who was compatible with Leon. So it kind of worked. Then you had the brother sister thing too, like it was so you kind of had with Claire. That kind of have that kind of almost a retelling of this kind of story we have with them, So it's kind of everything. Yeah,
I like it more. Let us not go there than the live action movies, but that's a whole different story.
I have a lot of opinions about those too, but one thing, the best thing about it is also there's no respect. Like Leon gets no respect coming in. And that's something I can identify with. But so, you know, it's just like, who is this guy? He doesn't even look, I think it's the line, like, he doesn't even look military. With, you know, with like civilian clothes, and he's just gonna like somehow get to work. And actually that goes back to even the first ones too, because why is he wearing these outfits when all the other cops are wearing, you know, the standard, you know, beat cop outfit, and he's wearing like tactical gear?
That's so true.
And I identify with that too, because like when I was a kid, I would always want to like, you know, jazz up my martial arts uniform or something. You know, I'd go and like find like things to make it look different, and to the dismay of everybody else involved, you know. But yeah, so what's next?
Actually, that brings us to a good point, because like we're going to talk about these projects and games and, you know, the process being, you know, basically behind the scenes. But what got you even interested in trying to land on a role for something that was like gaming related in the first place?
It kind of this is super complicated, and you can cut me off if this like makes your thing go too long, but everything goes back to basically martial arts and music. So I moved to Los Angeles because I was working for a record label, and I was working for a label that it was kind of eclectic. We had like bands that are considered like the godfathers of goth, like Bauhaus and all the offshoots of that. And then we had was it Delicious Vinyl? We had reissues of some of that stuff from the early 90s. And then we also had the famous Salt and Pepper, like the fourth album, I think, that got no promotion.
Yeah.
That's because the label went under. That's because the label went under right at that time. And and we had a Wu-Tang offshoot. By the way, Master Sword, is that like, are you like Jizza? Like Genius to like Liquid Swords? Like that's what I'm thinking. I see Master Sword, I'm like, what is this? Like the Wu-Tang member that I don't recognize yet.
I could definitely see why you would get that. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, Master Sword. Yeah, for instance, so I think of like Liquid Swords. They weren't on our label, but we had Sons of Man. Sons of Man was kind of the religious version of Wu-Tang. So their samples, they were sampling old religious movies from like the 19 somethings, and instead of kung fu samples, they were all religious samples. And I think Killah Priest came out of that band, and I forgot who else might have been there. But Genius produced a couple tracks, so I think one or two of the tracks on the Killah Priest album is on the Jizza Liquid Swords album, and then, like I said, Sons of Man was just all religious. It's kind of fun. They were on our label too, and then we had some like metal bands and stuff too. Anyway, they went out of business. So I was stuck in LA, so I started teaching martial arts at a Hollywood boxing gym. And I had done martial arts before, and there's kind of a video game connection to that too in Chicago. The guys in my school were the first Mortal Kombat photo scans.
That actually.
So anyway, so you see, like everything is rooted in martial arts and music. So I was always into all that stuff. So then I was I started coordinating movies. I was teaching actors and then like coordinating these movies, these like hip hop movies, the ones that would go straight to, now I guess they'd go straight to streaming or maybe less, I don't know, straight to streaming, but maybe not even Netflix level, I'm not sure, but like they would have like a rapper in there, like the one that I think probably is the one that's, I don't want to say most known, but is most infamous, maybe, but is like Hood Angels, that was Juvenile. So like they'd have like one rapper.
Man, you're like nailing everything I wanted to ask you earlier, actually.
So anyway, I'll finish and I'll let you take over.
Do your thing. Do your thing.
Put all that together, and then what happened is I just realized my stuff didn't look good. It was just like, oh, this looks like some kind of like Dolomite kind of kung fu, which is fine, and I loved it, but it was like, why is this not working? Like I'm teaching these people and I'm teaching them well, and it's a little, it's a little sloppy because they're just actors, and it's got a little like exploitation feel, but it didn't have the rhythm of all the movies I was watching, which were all the Hong Kong movies. And then so I kind of sort of put a soft pause on the coordinating and the choreography because I needed to do it the right way. And then I went and found this group of guys that had just come off a Jackie Chan movie, and they were on like martial law and stuff like. So this guy, they came off this movie called The Medallion, which was called Highbinders while they were making it, and that was Jackie Chan. And like so Ruben and Bruce Kahn, and then a group of other guys. They all came, and there was this little martial arts studio at CVS Radford, which is one of the like movie studios in Studio City here. And it was in the parking lot, and then there was this like martial arts studio. So they would use, that's where we kind of all started. So on my Instagram, there's like really old footage from like this red room. That's what that is. And so a lot of guys came out of that, and I was just kind of want to learn how to do it the right way. But I learned kind of after I was doing a lot of it. So that kind of like never really took off like as much again. I mean, I still coach people and probably do a project every 1 or 2 years or something in terms of choreography, but they're all small, like videos and stuff like that. But I went to those guys to learn the right way to do stuff. So it was like whatever, the Jackie Chan method or whatever, the Sammo Hung method. And then they started doing all the video games. So Ruben was kind of like heading all that, and then he just started taking on these projects from Capcom, and it kind of became this like mini center of like Capcom production in the US to get like Western actors, because they would just use models in Japan before that. So like Julia Ball, they were like just people from modeling agencies, and maybe they didn't have martial arts experience and all that stuff, but then they started wanting to get people that could do all like 3 things, like the face, maybe base the face on them, and then have them do the performance capture, and then also possibly the voice. Like the best do all 3, but that rarely happens. So they started doing all that and doing more and more of that, and that's kind of, I was there training with them. So a couple years in, and I was just there as like a martial arts school. I just wanted to learn with the best guys, and that's kind of what I do. I just like find my idols in terms of learning stuff. Like it's like, oh, this is the best guy. Like when I moved here, there was this guy Timok, he was the last dragon. Bruce Leroy, that guy catches bullets with his teeth. So I found him, and so I worked out with him for a couple years. We did shows and stuff and things like that. So I'll just find the best people doing it, or the people I'm looking up to, because I want to be the worst guy there. If that makes any sense, like, you know what I mean?
Oh no, I totally get that.
Yeah, it's like if I'm with these guys, then if I get a little tiny bit better, then like I'm closer to them, not closer to these other guys. And so then they started the first one. I think I went out for, it wasn't the first one they did, but it was the first one that I went out for, was Chris's mocap in RE5.
Oh.
And I think that might have just been the cutscenes, I'm not sure. And but Ruben ended up doing it because for whatever reason, I have like my own maybe type of movement. Maybe it's a little jerky, or maybe my limbs are too long. They're like exceptionally long. So for whatever reason, I did not book the movement part of that. But that was the first time I went out for a Resident Evil project. Then I went out for other projects and stuff too, for years. I was probably training with those guys for like 3 or 4 years. And they moved into other studios, like bigger and better studios. Now it's more common to train stunts, but back then it was more small to, run through this stuff.
Interesting. I love this background story.
Yeah, this is so
I'm learning a lot.
The funny thing is that Ruben would get the jobs. Like Ruben was running the stuff, but then he would get the job because he was just so much better. So he was probably hoping that I could be good enough so he wouldn't have to play Chris himself, and so he could just, that's my guess. But he was one of the people that was really trying to push this new idea. And I mean, I've known people in my life that I will say that whether they have credit or not, I believe they were I believe they were part of a scene, or maybe started a scene, whether it's music, martial arts, filmmaking, whatever, and they maybe never got credit, but like somebody else got credit just because they were, maybe further along the thing, or they were more well known or whatever. And I think Ruben, I would almost say, was the guy to push having like a Western actor playing a Western character as opposed to somebody in East Asia playing that character, just to have that physicality that's going to go along with the voice acting. Because if you have let's say it's an American doing American English voice acting, it might not go along with the person doing the movements. Because you think in a different language. I'm not really multilingual, but just in terms of, right. So people will move differently and whatever, depending on what they're talking whatever language they're speaking, or even if they're playing a character. Like if you're playing this character that has this accent that you made up, or if it has an accent that you had to learn for the character, you might move your body a little differently. And I think Ruben was noticing that there was a disconnect between, and I'm not like part of the company or anything. Like I was just like a little like peon, like looking what's going on. But that's what it seemed to me that he was trying to push, and that's why he wanted the Western actors playing these parts. And I think the face scans were almost an afterthought. It was really more about he wanted to, but then they kind of like, okay, we need a face for this. And they had our faces from other stuff. So like I said, I think I got this like 3 years in, because I had auditioned for, should we take this might be a different subject. This is more Leon stuff.
Okay, you're good. You're good. Actually,
this will be that question. Like if you ask about how did you get the film?
Which I love that you brought it up, because then this ties along nicely with what originally I was going to ask you. So before you landed on the role for Leon S. Kennedy, what other Capcom roles or characters were you auditioning for, before him? And like you pretty much explained, at some point you almost were going to be, I guess, part of the role of Chris.
Yeah, but I was not even close. Like, I wouldn't give myself that much credit. Like, there's jobs where I'll say I was the runner-up for this important thing. That's not one of them. Like, I almost say that I'm always the first to like also like admit when I know the talent that was out there. I knew, because I knew the best guys. Like, I don't fool myself. So I'm like, okay, whether it's, or it could be, once again, my proportions, like I said, I'm very like a spider. I'm not that tall, but I'm like a spider. Like my arms are like ridiculously long, like the craziest reach, which I've put into my own martial arts is, but for this stuff, think about it. If you're scanning, if you're picking up these points on the body for movement, the proportions might be off. That's why, because if somebody plays like a creature or a very long limbed thing, they have to put them like a crutch. They like extend their limbs. And then they put the body things on those, and so it's reading this longer limb. So think about like the opposite of that. If you want some guy that looks a little strong, but the arms are too lanky, even if you beef up the arms, it might be. This is just like me guessing, or I'm just too have my movements a little jangly. I just know that, and I like it. But for this stuff, it might have not been clean enough, because that's something you got to be clean in the performance capture stuff. As guys get a little older, which of course is like 33 or something, the movements start getting less clean. Even the best guys, like they got to start cleaning up the movements. It's very similar, like maybe auto tuning or something. Like you got to bring the note back where it's supposed to be, because like something's a little bit like, oh, that arm is like, that angle, that arm should be a little like 2 degrees more to this direction to make this creature look right, or this character look right. So my audition was probably not good enough, but he brought me in for it. So they had all my footage. I went out for a bunch of other things, but I don't know what they were, because I just show up, and I don't know the characters. Sometimes the characters didn't exist yet. So I would just get a picture, like a drawing of a character, and like, oh, you're going out for this guy, and then have the lines. So I didn't know like anything, and I'm not a super avid gamer. Sorry, like this
You're
is
good.
I hate me. So I didn't know some of the people I was going out for, and even didn't know the company so well. I was looking, because you mentioned that, or you sent me the thing. I don't know what Capcom stuff that I went for, because I don't remember all the auditions, but just name wise, the only ones I could know that I went for a Castlevania, which is a different company, and then a Bayonetta, which is also a different company, and that was a character.
Wow.
There was a character named Luca.
Yeah.
That one I went to a few auditions from, and one didn't get that either. But like somehow in between that, there's something also in between that. They wanted me to do these commercials for the Resident Evil 4 port to the Wii.
Yes. I was going to bring that up. Do you mind expanding a little bit more about these commercials they were planning and doing for the promotion of Resident Evil?
I've actually seen them. I mean, they're it's just a guy sitting on a Leon-esque guy sitting on the couch, with his girlfriend, who is a little bit Claire-ish, and then the zombies are like coming like through because it's kind of a rail shooter, so it's kind of like it's kind of coming at you. So I think that's what they're trying to emphasize, like it's kind of coming at you. So the zombies kind of come out of the TV. My hair didn't match, so I couldn't do it. That's the short version. I don't want to be like saying, anything bad.
You're good.
But I'm just saying for later when you cut it, if you want. but that's it. So you weren't fitting the role, and that's true with any role. If I go in a role and it's supposed to be a certain weight or certain this or certain look, and then I do something different, then they can't hire me. So they did nothing. They did zero wrong. And obviously nobody was. I mean, I was sad about it for sure, but obviously there was no hard feelings because I still worked out with those guys. I had some auditions after that, I think, for other stuff with them. And then, and they called me back like 9 months later to do Degeneration. So obviously no feelings were hurt, but it was just like, I couldn't time that. I couldn't do that with the timing because just all my jobs were based on having this certain kind of haircut.
Do you remember watching those commercials for Resi 4?
I don't remember those ones actually.
They're somewhere. They're somewhere.
I'm gonna have to look that up.
Pretty cool. I mean, I wish, I still wish I would have done them. I liked them a lot because then I would have had the live action thing, and then I could have done. Cool. Then I would have had all the things. I would have the. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but the Avon Jogea. I don't know how you pronounce his name from Welcome to Raccoon City. I could have covered that. Okay. Like then I would have had the games, the CGI, and a live action version. So that would have been cool.
Oh yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah, that would be. Agree, 100%.
I know.
So going back to, I guess, let's talk about like the face scan model, because ultimately they chose you to be the, I guess, the new face of Leon.
Right, it was Degeneration, and it was Degeneration, but then they were also working on Darksidechronicles, so they're like halfway. They were in between it because they were going. It was like sort of concurrent production. So it's one of those things where when I came on, they had already started Darksidechronicles.
Okay.
And then I think they finished it with mine because they hired me again. So my theory is that technology was moving so fast. This is my theory. This is not official, but that they did part of it one way, and then maybe they realized they needed an angle or something. I don't know. Somebody also posted like the models, the head models. I don't know where they got them, and you can see all the differences. It's one of those things where you don't notice the differences, like when you look at a person, because people are looking at the wrong things. They're looking like at eye color and nose shape, and it's like, no, that's not. It's skin color, hair color, it's haircut. It's like, no, that's not it. It's like the proportion of like the mandible of the jaw to the width of the cheek to the to the curve of it, or like how, and that's where you kind of can see the difference, because I have them somewhere because I know somebody posted them on like Twitter or something, but like the Leon Resident Evil 4, like if you kind of look past the hair, if you can, the head goes straight up, it doesn't go back at all. That like the nose, the proportions of the nose are different, even though the nose is, neither nose looks like perfectly like each version. Like that nose is more turned up than even the models, and then mine is more cleaned up than my real nose. So but like there's a if you see those two things side by side, you're like, oh wow, yeah, and the ear is completely, like my ear is way bigger. My everything is every part of the face is different, and it's not you're not seeing any texture or anything. It's just like a 3D model of like the shape, like almost like those styrofoam hat things in the store, like a wig thing, like a wig, I don't know, wig stand, I guess, that looks like a head. That's what they look like. And so that's floating around somewhere too, if you can find that.
How easy or how complex was like just overall the process of getting a face scan model done?
It's not that much. It's almost kind of like the voice acting. It's like it doesn't take that long, because it's all condensed. Like, so you're basically getting every angle. It looks different now, but back then it was literally just a guy and a camera going through all the angles and then going through some extreme emotions, like extreme, like, you know, like a yelling thing and just to kind of see how the face like kind of manipulates. And then they have that data, and then they kind of make the 3D model out of that. And now it just looks more like kind of like the Matrix. It looks more like there's like the guy's sitting like in a chair and there's like a million cameras around him. And it's kind of like, looks like that. That's not how it was when I did it. It was just taking the pictures.
Interesting. Yeah, I was gonna say, because that does look different. I remember seeing these rooms and it's just like tons of cameras in a 360-degree view, and I guess they're like all taking pictures at the same time. So for you, it was more like a photographer, pretty much just taking shots.
Yeah, and I think everybody has to do this, but you have to like, you know, push all your hair away because they don't care about the hair. But the interesting is that the hair I had, I had it kind of early. I mean, I didn't have it early. Like you could say the Beatles had it early, you know, but it was kind of this like mullet shag thing. And so this was 2007. So they weren't using my hair, but then later that became Leon's like main haircut, like the kind of shaggy, you know, like a short, with damnation on, you know, and so who knows, you know, where these things come from. But the hair was shorter in degeneration than my own hair was at the time, because we had to pull it all back. And even if you see pictures of other models, they're pulling it all back. It's like just like smashed back, like water or, you know, pomade or whatever.
Too much gel.
They're getting it out of the way. And then the terrible thing is, after we did that, I never saw them anywhere, but they took a bunch of pictures for like, I don't know what, with my hair, but I couldn't fix my hair. So it was terrible. It was like, because my hair was like longer, and then they just put like gel or water in it. Like, and then they're like, hey, we're going to take all these, you know, like modeling shots now. I'm like, what? But once again, like Ruben they were so smart that I think they wanted those for something, maybe for future castings or something, you know, so who knows, maybe they were used and I was, you know, passed over for stuff because they say, oh, this is that guy now, like, or this is that guy, you know, like just maybe I was in a file somewhere with those pictures that they know they took. But yeah, that's kind of, it was very, it was in real life, it was very Vendetta era, even though the degeneration look was a different look, but it kind of became the Vendetta look. So like, that's the funny thing. Like, it's kind of like Julia Voth. She did a couple games and then they didn't replace her for a while. So you can't, that's why I don't really talk about the other ones. But the ironic thing is, you know, I don't like, but those ones that came afterwards, like Vendetta and all that stuff, you know, everything's still there, like the kind of more square chin and all that stuff, and it's not less of the acorn head, and you know, and the hair is still similar and all that stuff, still dark hair and all those things. So, you know, who knows, you know, and that's why I don't like push those as much. But if anybody who knew me, like they always would see Vendetta, and if they knew me from like 2008, or because I rode motorcycles and scooters and mopeds and all these things, and I had like the super tight spandex, you know, indie rock jeans, like purple acid wash, like, and they would always say, oh yeah, that's, you know, they always would think that was the one. Like that's, I totally see it, because he had more the persona of what they kind of knew me as, you know, in those 2000 and for a lot of years, you know. Even by that point, I'd probably changed something. I think I was doing like a Don Draper by that point or something. Like like more the Jack Anvil look.
Actually, talking about Leon Kennedy, this has been our ongoing joke of how we debate of which Leon we like more. The Leon that started as a rookie at a police station, or the Leon in Resident Evil 4, which is fed up about life and is ready to move on.
But then, go ahead.
No, yeah, I would say I'm kind of in between, but then I like 4 because I'm like, yeah, I feel like I identify more with him, because I'm like, yeah, I'm done. I'm just opinionated about everything in life at this point.
But that's why the later ones are even more that, you know, and that's what I think. That's why I like those.
Oh, yeah.
It's like, it's kind of messed up, you know, kind of shell-shocked, and that kind of works for me, you know, because, you know, you've been through it, so...
Yeah, we've lived life. There's no reservations.
and yeah. So that's what
Actually,
we got.
do you want to add?
I was going to say for me, I've always thought that Leon was just an interesting character because for me, he's always been like kind of like the audience in a way. Because like every time something happens, he's like, "What is this? What is going on?" I'm so like, what are you guys talking about?
It is true. Because I mean, he's seeing the stuff. It's like he's seeing it for the first time when like you were seeing it for the first time. Yeah, because it's always
So
pretty
he
much
kind of like
first person view.
the audience. Yeah.
He's relatable.
Very
Yeah.
much.
No, and just the fact that he has a full arc is cool. And the rookie one, the rookie one's great, and I actually liked the the live action movie. So so it was cool to see.
Really?
On the
Oh God! Now I want to hear why. I'm curious.
Okay, one reason is because probably when I met all those guys and was working out there, that's what I looked like.
Okay.
Oh, okay.
So to me, that's full circle because they used me and they used him. So I'm like, because I had the long curly hair, and all that stuff, and so that's kind of I don't know. I kind of liked that because it looks. I mean, there's another kind of composite picture like floating around Twitter or something too, where it's like some of my old pictures and some of his, like me when I was young, and then his, and so that one kind of floats around too. I could look for these.
Actually, fun fact, just because he's here and we're talking about Leon, for those that do and do not know,
I know where this is going.
I am currently expecting a baby, and it's a boy, and funny enough, his name is after Leon S. Kennedy, because his name is going to be Leon.
Congratulations. And that's good to give them good names like that. I think that's it.
Baby Leon will
Yeah.
be joining us.
He's going to be pretty cool.
That's really good. Congratulations. And I don't know, you have to get him like some little fingerless gloves.
Yeah. I want to get him the bomber jacket. Like I want like a little baby bomber jacket.
Little
like,
RPD jacket.
Yeah, I want that so bad.
And a baby wig.
Yes, gotta have it.
We've been joking about if we go to a gaming convention, we have to cosplay him as Baby Leon.
Yeah, those are pretty. I've seen a couple and they're pretty good. But only like one or two. Like it's rare that people do it. But I think I've seen like one or two in like 10 years. Like online too. So like out of all these pictures, it doesn't happen often. So you got to do it.
Yeah, we gotta do it, and we're gonna just like tag it, put it on Instagram, and be like, we're gonna probably tag you and be like, hey, this is Baby Leon.
People do that. People dress their kids up like, I think they'll do like demolition lovers things too with their kids.
Oh God.
Which is even darker than Resident Evil. Like Resident Evil is kind of just like it's like a Tom Cruise movie compared to the Demolition Lovers story.
Yeah.
it's more bright.
Pretty much a comedy at this point. Little comedy skit. We've been joking about trying to come up with a custom onesie of the T-virus and stuff like that.
Oh yeah,
T-virus onesie. Yeah, I want it.
Oh God.
That makes sense. That's a good one.
Yeah, but I also been meaning to ask you because I was when I was doing my research. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of Johnny Depp, and I had read that you had participated in the movie of, if I'm not mistaken, it's called The Lone Ranger, and you did like I think you were like double stunt or something like that.
It's pretty minimal. It's that. That's not stunts. It was what they do is they take pictures for the posters because a lot of times the celebrity actors can't make it to the promos, do the marketing shoots and stuff. So it's just the body double for that stuff and to add stuff. So it's kind of like it's parts of your body. It's just all kind of Photoshop magic. So it's not really movement. It's more static. And it's like holding the tomahawks and various poses and stuff. Yeah.
So you've basically been featured.
It's what?
You've basically been featured on some of the posters that were supposed to be him.
Mainly like parts of my arms and I think parts of my torso or something. It's a smaller thing, you know. It's not. I wouldn't say that is not a stunt credit, you know. That's why I call it section like stunts and stories, because it's just like interesting, cool stuff, which I do think is really interesting because he's done some movies I love, so like Ed Wood and all that stuff. So
yes, he's my top favorite actor.
I'm not a super fan, but I do like him, and so like Fear and Loathing and like Ed Wood, and there might be another one that I really like, but I can't remember the third one.
Yeah, Edward is my top favorite, like of all the roles he's done, obviously.
Yeah, and I love
think it's like timeless.
It's all I live kind of where I live is like that area, you know, the old Hollywood type stuff is there, like the restaurants they go and all that stuff. That's all in like walking distance and things, so it's kind of like it's something I like Charlie Chaplin studio, Buster Keaton. There's these guys, the Three Stooges, who are these like their studio. That's all like in walking like walking. It's
wow.
Fun. So the Ed Wood stuff, I love that kind of stuff, and even the Jack Anvil thing, and the Don. When I say the Don, I had a Don Draper haircut. The thing is, my hair was always long. That's the thing. Like people think the back was short, but like people think my hair was really short when I would do that. Like, but it was actually as long or longer. When I had those like Don Draper type haircuts, you know, in any kind of pictures like that.
Yeah. Also, I was meaning to ask you, because I know you've done a lot of like ads and huge commercial like campaigns, and obviously this included very memorable moment, which I think is probably very special to you, about like sharing a spotlight in one of the Super Bowl events. So do you mind like sharing a little bit of how this even came to be?
That was just a normal commercial audition. So it was just cool because it was during the Super Bowl, or it was right before like kickoff, like it came on, and it was interesting just because it was like my parents, like not my parents, my long-term partners, her parents, like that's the only work they've ever seen of mine, was me. It's me making out with this, because we're supposed to be, I don't know if people haven't seen it, it's we're a Fiat test like scientists, and we're gonna release the electric Fiat. It was like, so this was Super Bowl 2014, but I think stuff ran from like 2013, 2012. Like it was a kind of a thing, and it was just like the car goes off the racetrack, and then they go to get the car, and then to see what's wrong. But we're like making out like the two me and the girl scientists. So, but that's like the only. But it's Fiat, so like, I think the slogan was like environmentally sexy or something. I think that was their marketing.
Oh God, that's hilarious.
I seen that one.
And that was interesting because I hadn't done that. Like I did a lot of that stuff, or like most of my first jobs were in music videos. So I was probably in more music videos than most guys, So that was more, like, it was kind of interesting because I was like almost going back to those days when I was in all these videos, and being the boyfriend, or being the sweaty guy, or just a guy dancing with somebody, that was probably all my first things were that, like going way, way, way back. It was just in music videos. My first lines were in music videos too.
Oh, really?
Yeah, Bone Thugs and Harmony.
What video?
It's either called Paper or Resurrection.
Oh, I might have to watch that now.
And then my roommate, roommate's in it too. My roommate's in it too. He's the bodega. Well, it's actually a gas station, but he's like a bodega.
I think that is Paper. Yeah,
well, it is. But they have two names for it. It depends who you talk to. They'll call it Resurrection or call it Paper. Because I think it's called Resurrection because I think I'm not a huge aficionado of hip hop, but I think they went away for a little while and then they came back. So that's why they called it Resurrection.
Yeah, they did.
Yeah,
I do remember that. I'm gonna have to watch that video again now. I used to love that.
You can't miss it. It's hilarious.
I know exactly what you're talking about. I just haven't watched that video in so long, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah, and that gas station's still there. It's right in Hollywood, and it's It's about a block. Once again, go back to old Hollywood. It's like probably 1 block from like Buster Keaton's and Charlie Chaplin's old studio. So everything's like it's like an interesting old like historical area.
That's so nice. That would be such a cool experience just to like tour and see that.
You gotta tour like all the deep cuts though, like the secret stuff, like you know what I mean? Like this was the college quad for Buffy, and this is where this music video was shot, and this was like people don't like even know any of this stuff, so it's interesting.
Yeah, just to do a bunch of sightseeing and
but the low key, like the stuff nobody knows about.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Like did you go to the Hollywood sign? Did you go to no, I went to whatever, like the store where that was owned by this person who was in this movie. Who was like, So
it's so cool. Before I hand it to you, TJ, because I know you're ready. You are ready and loaded with your trivia and questions for this gentleman.
Yes.
I was meaning to ask you because, usually when you pick roles or you pick characters, it's because in some way or fashion you identify or, connect with these people, So like as of for Leon S. Kennedy, what would you say was the determining factor of you saying like, yes, I want to be Leon S. Kennedy, or I want to be part of this project, but also what are some of the challenges that you feel like you identify in the same way that Leon S. Kennedy, in his own challenges, what I mean? Like let me see.
I mean, it's a lot, but it's kind of actually super easy because we went over a little bit, and plus I'm gonna do be a bad interviewee. Because I'm going to completely contradict you and completely flip your question around. And, because I believe, this is just, me, super opinion, in my humble opinion, the things that you kind of go out for, that you kind of hunt for, or the things that you maybe do sometimes yourself, whether you're good at it or not, I don't think that's the best gauge of what's inside you. I think when it's a stranger, a third-party person, a third-party company, they hire you for something, that means that's there. Because they're seeing that, they're picking up on that. Because I have noticed that these characters, a lot of times the people are kind of similar to them. Unless they just, unless a person becomes like the very popular mocap actor or performance capture actor or voiceover artist, then of course they're just getting every job because they're good. But like when there's people that don't have as many jobs, and it's like, wait, how is he this? And like with me, like how is he this and that? Those are like the same thing. Like Demolition Group and Leon, they're like these totally just like guys whose lives were destroyed and like have these bad things in their lives, and they're seeing these horrible things, and then they're kind of like grinding through it. And that's kind of going to go to your other question. Like that's just like having not a chip on your shoulder, but just like if you're, this definitely goes with Leon, and this goes even to the rookie Leon, especially in the movie, which is one thing I liked about the movie, even though I thought they stuck on it too long. But I understand they wanted to make the characters one-dimensional because there were too many characters in the Welcome to Raccoon City. The thing is, like, Leon is always disrespected everywhere, and then he always saves the world, like literally. Like maybe some of the later ones, I would say maybe possibly in Death Island, maybe he wasn't disrespected. But that was a little different. But that, like I said, that movie flowed so well. Like all of them have such great things about them that I think you have to watch all of them. I just happen to have my favorites, and as everybody should. But that's the main thing. It's just like this person gets like, it doesn't seem like they're the one who's going to do this like great thing, and then that's what happens. So those are my two answers. I know they're kind of melded together, but like one is that if you're going to talk about Leon, that's the thing. He's like the super skilled person that somebody might overlook because he's just some guy, some
average.
Right. But I've noticed that too, like even in my own things, like if people know I'm working something, they're treating me way different than if I'm just a guy walking down the street, doing whatever, it's like, right. But then you become, once but then once people know who you are, then it's different. So you gotta. That's the thing. Like, it's if people don't know that you have these special talents or abilities, I think it's cool. A person like Leon is like, oh, but look, you underestimated me, you know. And I think that's one thing that really sticks for me, and that's also why I liked my era of Leon too, because I think it was the most dark era, you know. Yeah. And I don't know, once again, where the movies go, because like I said, they didn't really, as far as I know, there was no replacement, but that I'm like, it's kind of so far gone that I think they could just make up, like, it's almost like AI, you know. You could almost, now they can make the faces really easy because the technology, and also they have templates of so many years of, you know. So, but I'll still say up until maybe the last one, because that's where Leon seemed the most competent, he was still like having problems. And we all all have problems. That's the thing. So, but then you can still do these amazing things, and that's what people have to realize. There's always things going on. You're seeing like 1% of somebody's success, but meanwhile, they're either, I don't want to call it failing, but they're doing stuff, and people are maybe underestimating them, or maybe they did do a bad job. I've done terrible jobs, terrible auditions, terrible. You know, where was my fault? I'm not saying this is other people's fault. Yeah. But for people to see something in you, and then that goes back to, once again, the characters that you're playing. For somebody to not out of the blue, but, you know, like, look at you for a character. Like, for instance, the Demolition Lover thing, I'll go ahead, that one really thing. You wouldn't know that, for instance, that me and Jamie, her name's Jamie, were, you know, artsy kids or whatever, or like people who wore black, or people who liked dark music, or all these things, but like, we were. But you wouldn't know that, because like our stuff, you know, especially for the industry, most of it's going to be a little bit more conventional, because that's what most people want to hire. So like the fact that like Gerard, and I met Gerard, he's the lead singer of the band. I've met him, and he explained, like, it was really cool. Like, he kind of remembered the whole process. He remembered the exact headshots that he had picked us off of, which was that was unbelievable. Like, so like, he saw something, a kindred, whatever, hot topic spirit, you know, like, I hate to say that, but that's like just a good way to describe it, like, for the masses, you know, people who wear black, people, you know, whatever. And he saw that, even though you wouldn't know from like me being in, you know, the shirtless guy in a Britney Spears video or something, you know, you wouldn't know that, oh, that guy's like actually super like dark. I don't know what the word would be, but like, he's into like very alt stuff, you know. But a lot of people do have like a sunny exterior, you know. They might have other things going on, not in a bad way. It could be in a good way. It could be in a nice way. But it's not what you expect.
Or it could be in a screwed up way too.
Yeah, it can. And luckily, I've never been that way. Like, I've never been whatever, self-harming or anything like that, you know what I mean? But I'm definitely more like gloomy or whatever, you know? So that era of all that Leon stuff, and even all the promos and stuff, like, that's when he definitely had like black hair and all this stuff. So maybe they were you could say it was as simple as them being just like looking at stuff that was in popular media, and maybe like they wanted everybody to look like emo. Or maybe they actually were like, hey, let's make him look like a little hardened, like battle hardened, and like he's seen a lot of bad things, and he's kind of just barely getting through, you know, which I think is evidenced by them finally making him basically like he's some half of an alcoholic, at least, you know. You know, you start seeing it because you see in Damnation, he's taking shots in Damnation, and then by Vendetta, he's kind of, you know, wasted.
Yeah.
So
that reminds me of an episode that if you guys haven't listened to it, you definitely need to go back and listen to it, because we had a little too much fun, and I think you know which one I'm talking about, but it's called Our Video Game Crushes.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I'll just leave it at that, guys. If you have not listened to it, it is what I have to say. It's one of my favorite episodes we've done from season 1.
It was very interesting.
Yeah. Coming from a marriage standpoint, yes, it was.
It was very interesting.
Well, that's like probably good free therapy. Not that people need therapy, not that you need therapy, but I'm saying like that's a good thing. Talk about those things.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like,
and I'm gonna pass it on to you, to my marvelous co-host, so you can do your trivia time.
Okay. Let's go.
I'm ready.
But what you were just explaining about Leon is exactly why Leon Kennedy is my favorite Resident Evil character, because he always has that like fish out of water kind of thing going on. It's really relatable, but like regardless of what situation he's thrown into, he always tries to do the best thing that he can do to, get through it or to save somebody's life, or he's just a good guy. He's just a good guy that just wants to help.
Does it. He gives it his best. Like he's never holding back. He just gives it his best, even if he's not going to survive. Like it's like, and that's what you got to do. It's like when you do anything. I don't talk about that much, but like if I'm teaching, when I taught a lot of kids and stuff, it's like there's a brain reset. Because your brain is like, your brain picks up like it's like a snowball. Picks up more snow, like, and then you just got to like reset it, like, and those kind of things. I think that's what it kind of does. Where I don't even know where I'm going. I think I lost my own tangent.
Yeah,
sorry.
Reset.
I don't know if that's what it applies to on your thing, but I literally would call it a brain reset, like for kids or I mean really adults too, because whatever you're doing, anything, and like I may have lost the question. I'm sorry, but yeah,
no, you're right on it.
Yeah. And there's a guy. I mean, he's not the best guy. He just died recently, but I wouldn't say he's a true role model, but he was the head of the Hells Angels, and his name's Sonny Barger. I think that's how you pronounce it. And he, I think he was on Sons of Anarchy like for a couple of 2 episodes or something. But he would always, I'm sorry, just doing things and kind of not thinking, being clear-headed and doing the thing. And so this does apply. And one thing I remembered from one of his books was the thing about riding motorcycles. Is it's the thing to do, because he obviously didn't work out and stuff, but it would reset his brain, because you're on there and you could die on a bike. You know what I mean? And I've ridden bikes I rode for a lot of years, and I still have some, but you have to be looking, because you can be picked off at any moment. So you have to remain that alert. So even if you were thinking about like, oh, I have to like fix the washing machine, whatever, I don't have kids, but I think you mentioned you had kids, so you got to drive the kids to school, or or whatever, but that's all gone. Like, because if you're riding the bike properly and you're paying attention, and you're making sure you don't get, killed, your brain is going to be completely clear. And that's what he wrote in his book. He's like, so you're being that your life is on the line. You're putting yourself, so your brain is going to be clear. Like that, all other stuff doesn't matter as much, or you can put it in perspective. It can still be big things, like a family member has cancer or something, but like it allows you to kind of like shuffle it, into perspective. And that's why when you mentioned all those jobs of mine or whatever, the photographer and all that stuff, yes, I've done all that stuff professionally, but I put it more out there. I don't think about it as much, but I might use it just as much. Like for instance, even if I do a video call, which I'm not doing video here, but like I'm thinking about every part of lighting. I'm thinking about making sure, like, and I can't be burdened with that, because it's too many things, because I'll think about it too much. So I try to like put some things out of my head and just try to remain only clear-headed. Like right now I'm only talking to you and looking at you guys, and I'm not thinking about anything else. This is resetting my brain for the day. So that kind of stuff. This is all inclusive of your entire being, and you're doing the same thing. Plus, you're also producing the segment, so you got other things that you're also paying attention to. So your brain is going to be completely clear after this too, and you'll just go relax and time it.
Yep, that's actually what the reset stands for. That's what we do. This is like a brain reset for every week. Every week you listen to this podcast, you reset your mind for the week, and
sure, and like physical things I think can do that, or like just important things or milestone type things. So you just do a lot of things that are more, at least to you, more bigger than you, or bigger than maybe what your peers or friends are doing, and do more, and that should kind of give you almost like a omniscient, I don't know what the word would be, but where you kind of see everything. You kind of see like you and the rest of the people, like from like the sky, And then you can kind of see, oh yeah, that person's doing that many things. Like how many people on your block are shooting a video content? I mean, that's one of the reasons I did your thing, because I was like, okay, they're consistent. Well, I didn't know you, TJ, yet, but I saw Zap had like consistent output, and and that's important, you know, and so that maybe be, you know, all in on doing it, you know. We didn't do it last year because I didn't feel like doing video, but but you can see I exist.
Yes,
I want to chew gum. I want to write, you know, I want to write stuff down, you know. So
yeah, it's probably good that you're not doing videos compared to me. But anyhow, I'm gonna pass it on to you.
Oh yeah. While I was doing, you know, as preparing for this interview, I did a little research, and as I was researching, I came across a couple interesting little factoids, and I just wanted to run them by you to see if these things that I've heard are true or not.
Is it true or a lie?
One of them you actually kind of already touched on, but I want to go all the way in. Is that you were the martial arts coach to the rapper Juvenile?
Well, that was for that film I told you about. That was for
you had touched on that.
Yeah, so it wasn't like I mean, he was there for the extent of the project. So yeah, but it's not like you know, I was like Morpheus or something. That being said, he was honestly, I still have actually a lot of footage of that behind the scenes, but like, he's very open and nice, and like was like, I hate to say it, sounds like so cliche, but he was a pleasure to work with, because I worked with a lot of other musicians on that job, and he being, even though he was the most powerful and most biggest one, he was also possibly the most receptive to, you know, doing stuff.
That's really cool.
He did relatively simple stuff. Well, yeah, because you don't know that, because like, you know, any celebrity can be, you don't know, and it doesn't matter. It's not their honestly not their job to be the friendliest person in the world, because they're doing their job. That's why we are fans or whatever. But behind the scenes, that's give or take, and it's always the ones that were like stuck out to me in life. It's like, wow, that was a super hardworking, super cordial, super nice, you know, whatever celebrity, you know.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm a big Juvenile fan, so when I saw that, I was like, "What?"
Yeah, like I said, but it wasn't like a Morpheus. You know, it wasn't like we trained for years and things like that. But I was the one who had to work with him, and he tried to do things even if he couldn't do them. Like, he does relatively simple stuff in the movie, but he would try and was open-minded even more than some of the actors on the job. You know, he was that open. He was like, oh yeah, let's try that. Oh, okay, cool. Like, so we said, you know, and some stuff he just couldn't do because he just didn't have
the agility.
Well, I mean, he wasn't a trained guy, you know, but he still was.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I mean, it's that movie's kind of weird, because I don't agree with that anymore. Like, back then, this is before I went to where I told you to learn the stunt fighting, where I was just trying to make them do like the craziest stuff, even if they you know, I was not being considerate. And so that movie that's why it has that exploitation feel. I always say like a Dolomite feel, because the first movie I ever saw that was kind of like exploitation. Or just, but I like those too, because I like to see people trying, you know, and people are trying, but they're not doing a great job. And that's kind of how, because they're doing it to their abilities. And I later learned to have people do stuff. Okay, what can you do? Okay, now let's back it off a notch, and then that's the best. So we're just going to make it work out of that. You know, if you could do one punch, we're going to make it work. So it's like one punch, and then acting, and then moving here, and then, you know, just going in within their abilities to make them do a good job. And on that job, I really was pushing people too much. I think that was something I learned about because I'm like, do this crazy kung fu move, you know. But that also gives it its charm. But I don't think. But I wouldn't be that way anymore. You know what I mean? Yeah. If you see it, you'll see it. It's endearing. But people will say it's the worst fight choreography I ever saw. You know.
So basically, you would work on whatever level that person was able to give you.
I'd be better. I mean, I was young. Yeah. as worried about what I was wearing to the shoot.
Yeah,
I was because Jackie Chan and Sammo Hung, he's the guy who was in martial law, so they came from the same group, and they would wear the craziest clothes, like it was just insane, and like hats and crazy. So I would do like kind of the gothic hip hop version of that or something, you know? Yeah. So
cool.
It's fun.
I love these stories. I've been learning so much behind the scenes. It's just changed my whole perspective now.
This has been a really cool interview.
Well, that's the problem with the interviews. It kind of messes the whole character up for the. It's like, oh, okay. I can't take that guy seriously anymore. That's why I don't like doing a ton of them, but because it's like, but okay.
Yeah.
Okay. The next interesting thing that I found is that it was stated that you participated in a martial arts championship with Anthony Marquez and Daniel Pacina, who is Kung Lao and Johnny Cage from the Mortal Kombat movie.
So once again, this sounds more impressive than it may be. Those were my senior brothers in my kung fu school.
Okay.
So we would travel, and so they were like in martial arts schools. There's always these people that are like, they're not the main coach, but they're the top guys. And at that school, I just got lucky, and I happened to go to this school that was kind of actually nationally a legit school.
Nice.
Even though I was only going to just the kung fu school that I could get to, and they happened to be there. So they were flying out to LA to do stunts once in a while, like just like utility stunts on like what do you call it, like Ninja Turtles and stuff like that. And Chris Farley came through there to do the Beverly Hills Ninja, so he came to school to train for that. He's like wearing the school shirt in the movie, I believe. Or he definitely mentions our coach's name when he spills the ashes in the movie. And he's like, Master Go, Master Go. That's our coach. That was the head of our school.
Yeah, I remember that. Okay.
And that's why it looks like he's doing Chinese movement, because even though he's a ninja, because he went to a kung fu school. But I think that he also did some training here with whoever the stunt team was. But he like trained for, they'll do training before the movie, like just for a few months to get and then when they're on the movie, it might not be the same people.
Gotcha.
So like there were probably other people involved later with him, but he's probably, I don't know, maybe he's from Chicago. I don't know. But so those two guys, they were like the top competitors, some of the top competitors in the country at the time, like Danny and Tony. And so they were just part of our school. They were like the senior students, and they were at the top of their game. And I still talk more to Tony a bit because we have some very similar views. In fact, Tony's the one that opened my mind to getting into actually thinking about more fighting as opposed to just the kung fu, like the traditional and the forms and all that stuff. Because he was like one of the top guys in forms in the country, and he's working on fighting. He's working on hitting the bag. He's working on boxing. I'm like, oh, okay. If he's doing that, then there's got to be something to it. Because that's the flip side of the forms and stuff. And you got to do both,
Interesting.
So did you ever compete directly against them? Like you ever had
they were a higher level than me.
Oh, okay. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was more mediocre, like in the middle.
I was wondering if Johnny Cage and Leon Kennedy. I want to fight. Basically, I want Leon Kennedy to fight Johnny Cage. Okay. I think it'll be an interesting match.
The more likely thing that could happen, because we kind of think the same and we've known each other so long. I would believe that Tony, because he's been out here more times, for fun sparring. I think he'd be more open to it because Danny is very. I don't see him as much, and he's still very active.
Yeah,
and he's taking on the form. He's an expert. I mean, they're experts in kind of everything, but his expertise really is the forms and the weapons and all that kind of stuff. I'm not saying he's not a strong guy, because he's very like if you see him, he's like pretty like muscly and stocky, like Danny. Whereas Tony still does, like we have a lot of similar views. In fact, I have a shout out from him like just that I keep, which is kind of cool. That he just said, because he had said something on one of my things, like, well, we're pushing martial arts to the next level. And I'm like, cool, like, that's cool, because I always thought he was doing that. So him saying that to me was a big compliment,
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Throw a poll. Who's gonna win?
I don't know.
My money's on Leon.
I don't think
all day.
I don't think anybody's. I always think that if you're doing it, you're already winning, because you're doing it. Most people won't even do it, even if it's fun fighting, fun sparring, whatever. And I do believe he'd be open to that, to just like fun tag or whatever, because he knows we've done so many things, and I think we might be similar. I don't know. We're definitely. I think we're. I don't know. Similar. I don't know. Builds or something. I don't know. Yeah. So, but it wouldn't be. But it's not like a macho. It's not a macho thing. It's like just. It would be like fun playing around.
Oh yeah, I think that's the.
But low key, TJ thinks Leon is gonna win.
But Leon's gonna win though.
Well, don't. Okay, for my safety, don't tell him that.
I won't say nothing.
Because here's the thing, like, no, he's super nice, and he's like I said, he's one of my like people in life that I look up to as he's like one of my favorite martial artists or whatever. He still has a big school in Chicago, which is very fight oriented too. So he's doing both, but he's also, you might not know this, but him, like Johnny Cage and Kung Lao are almost opposite personalities of the ones who played them.
Yeah.
Because Johnny, Danny, and once again, I hope they don't like get mad at me for that. He's more like the Shaolin monk.
Gotcha.
Like he's doing the weapons, he's doing the traditional and all that stuff. Not, like, once again, not that he's not a strong, tough guy. And then Tony is more, to me, and he's even said this in his book, like Michael Jordan-y.
So he's more like Johnny Cage. I see what you're saying.
So he might take the challenge. Like if he hears you saying stuff like that,
he'll be like, okay, let's do it.
And then he might hurt me.
Oh God, did we just initiate something here?
Just
on this podcast? Oh, God.
But like I said, it doesn't even matter, because like he's if not the one, he may be the one who had kind of opened the door for me being interested in fighting.
That's really
fighting part of it. So in a way, because I was more like Wu-Tang, like Praying Mantis, all this. I wanted to be like esoteric kind of stuff, but I saw him doing the boxing stuff, and I'm like, well, if the best forms guy, in my opinion, that I knew or saw, because I liked his style. If he's working on boxing, or it was more like Chinese, like there was a Chinese art, which is kind of their competitive combat art, Sanshou or Sanda, they call it now, and it's kind of like sumo mixed with MMA striking or whatever. So that was kind of getting hot at the time, right before I moved to LA. So I don't know if that's what he was doing or if he was doing straight up boxing, but whatever, he was hitting a bag. He was hitting something, which we didn't do. The most we would do is, because I think this is very important, but I, once again, don't think it's very smart. We would just go in the back room and like try to knock each other around, like, but with our kung fu moves. And the back room was also, this was at our school in Chicago, but the back room was also a driving school. So it had all those little like college essay chairs. So if you knock somebody over, you'd be like hitting your head on like chairs and stuff. It was really terrible.
But you know what else is amazing that you can be a part of?
What is that?
Well, it's a little website, when you go online and take notes. You need to take notes.
Right,
this is really important.
Right, I'm ready.
So, you open up a browser. Mm-hmm. Not like your good old 90s. We're talking about 2024. So it could be, Safari, Google Chrome, whatever browser you use, right?
What do I do?
Yeah, and then you go to the search bar. Yeah.
Search bar.
Okay, you need to use your keyboard for this. Obviously, let's be specific about this, right? And then you're going to type in www. You got that?
Got it.
Not HTTPS. And www.ZapCristal.com. That's it.
Got it.
Yeah. You know what you can find on this website?
Where can you find there?
You can find our recent Zap podcast. Oh. You can find everything I'm up to when I'm not on the podcast.
Really?
Yeah, you can find out about live streams, all of our recent series. There's an email list you can join just to stay in touch which honestly we both should sign up. I'm just saying, this girl's pretty cool.
I think everybody should go to ZapCristal.com and check it out.
I'm just saying, she seems like I still need to do a little bit of research about who she is, but I think I might jump onto her email list.
We'll do it. I downloaded Chrome just for this interview too.
There we go.
This platform, it's whatever it is, Podcastle. It'll only let you do it on Chrome. So,
really? I did not know that.
I opened on Chrome and on my computer.
Well, there we go. Chrome, you might need to sponsor us. But anyways, not sponsored. Go to www.ZapCristal.com. Beautiful chef kiss. There we go. But guys, I appreciate y'all listening to this episode. Season 2 has been phenomenal. We've had so many great guests. We've learned a lot. We've had many deep provoking #chicken sandwich discussions. I'm just saying, #chicken sandwich. Chicken is a sandwich.
Chicken.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm not even gonna argue with you no more. That's just.
But yeah, guys, I appreciate you listening. Jamisin, I appreciate you being on board, being part of this episode. It was really fun talking to you.
Yeah.
Hopefully, I didn't drive you crazy with all my questions.
I'm just curious to see the edit. How we're gonna. It's gonna be like a 2-hour thing. Yeah.
But yeah, most importantly, I appreciate you guys for taking the time. You could have been doing anything, and yet you chose to sit down and take the time to listen to us. And from the bottom of my heart, thank you. Don't forget to rate this show. You can leave your feedback as we, continue making tweaks and advancements and making this easy for you to listen, but also fun for us. And as always, don't even think about it. I already know where you're going.
Not going to do that.
Okay, all right. And as always, I want to remind you guys to always reset and zap for the week.
Thank you guys for listening.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.